We are live, guys. We're in a studio next door to Kool Hits, and we're going to do our first show. We kind of repackaged it, renamed it. We usually kept the name Sports Central, but I don't like that. I think it sucked, and we're going to get a new name. And I think Highly Debatable fit all of us because we always debate everything, sports or non-sports. But almost the exact same crew as Spencer Hutchison, Sean Hutchison, Coach Mark Salyers, and James Collier is going to join us for tonight. We need somebody that knew what they were doing here, and before we go any further, before we talk about last week's games or next week's games, there's a face that we're missing. And over break and right before football season, we lost our good friend Beryl Kidwell. I wouldn't say he lost the battle to cancer, but it's just one of those things. It was just Merle's going to be missed by all area schools, and he was a really good friend to me for years and years and years, and he was on our show. He's a regular, pretty much every episode last year. And when you say that they don't make guys like Merle anymore, that's the truth. He was truly one of a kind, a guy that you could talk to about anything, and really going to miss him. So,
Merle and I go way back. We played against each other in high school, so it kind of ages me also. But that was some 40 years ago. But he was a sharpshooter, that's for sure. He and Andy Plummer had that was a dynamic duo in the backcourt.
I believe he's still Lewis County. Maybe not now, but he was Lewis County's all-time leading scorer for a long time.
Yes.
I'm not sure if maybe somebody like Gerke or Sam O'Keefe may have passed him. I don't know, but he used to be, so I'm not sure. But guys, we had football games last week. Of course, I didn't have a show last week. We didn't do a show last week. James had a show last week. We did the football preview. Had a lot of fun doing that, and we really didn't pick any games. And I'm not going to pick any games this time either because I know who's watching. And I know who's down there, and I know who's watching. So I'm not going to – I'll give you some insights. I'm not going to pick any games because I don't want people to copy me, to be honest with you. I just don't want it to happen. So I'll do a couple picks. But last week, I'm just going to start off. On Saturday, there was a game Saturday, one of the few area games Saturday, Montgomery County, Magoffin County. Montgomery County ended up winning that one. I have nothing against Montgomery County, but they didn't want to play East Carter week 1 anymore because East Carter was just going down there in the little bowl game that they had, getting a check and a free win and coming back.
That's right.
So, they got Magoffin County, who almost got them. Magoffin County is a team that they usually have some pretty good athletes. You would not think that, but they have some really, really good athletes. As somebody just texted me and said our volume is low, but a team that will spread the field. They used to anyways. They like throwing the ball a lot. They'll throw it around. They've got some guys up front that are really good on the offensive line. They've had some hitters. The problem with Magoffin County, and in the past, is they were in Belfry's district. So anytime you're in Belfry or Lawrence County's district, that's a tough road. So Magoffin County drops to 0-1. Of course, that's one of our Kool TV teams. We have a great relationship with them. Johnson Central and Madison Central played 28-21. Actually, that game was a little bit closer than I thought it would be, especially after what I watched Johnson Central do to Cabell Midland. So Johnson Central starts the season 1-0. Coal Grove and Greenup, 36-28 was the final. That doesn't tell the story here. At one time in this game, Coach, Greenup trailed 28-7. And it was just, Graham's coaching adjustments. They made 1 or 2 adjustments, and they really, really started to stall Coal Grove, who runs wing T. You know all about the wing T. I know all about the wing T. But it's kind of too late. Graham County kind of played from behind. They had some throws and some drops, and they kind of sailed. And I'll tell you what it was. It's exactly what you would expect from a team with a lot of inexperience at some positions. So, but Tyson Sammons did what Tyson Sammons does, and we talk about him a lot. He rushed for over 200 yards again. So, East Ridge, 8-0 over Morgan County. Morgan County had chances to win that game. I had several chances to win that game. They just could not put it in the end zone. And the game that I was at, of course, Estill County goes for 2 with about 30 seconds left. It converts. They beat East Carter 22-21 in a game that was, I wouldn't say was ugly. I think East Carter's quarterback's a stud. The Quentin Johnson kid, that kid is going to be a superstar. And then you talk about Yoke and Holbrook, and I think, you saw flashes of greatness of some of the other guys on the defensive line. Isaac Messer got double and triple teamed all night long. So they're saying, basically, everybody else can tackle us, but you're not going to. And even then, Coach, he was still separating double teams and making plays. He still disrupted, but just a couple too many mistakes, and they kind of have the problem Greenup has. They've got guys that they're just putting in varsity action for the first time, and you got to think the nerves kind of playing a role. The bus ride there is not easy. First varsity game. It's just, East Carter will be fine. They're going to be. They're still a serious threat to win that district. They'll be fine.
Give them a few weeks of maturity, and I think, like you said, they're going to come because the tradition's starting to build there. Tradition's building.
It's a
up.
program
Coach has done
now.
a wonderful job there.
East Carter's not a free win on the schedule anymore.
No, they're not, and they're coming out to play every week, and that's not a downfall. I mean, there was a lot of games this past week I looked at. I thought, wow, they turned out different. I thought that my thoughts and everything about it, but it's tough to come out of the box and really play a hard game. And it was a cool night. It wasn't a hot night. You don't see the cramps as much Friday night, but you got to get the cobwebs out of the guys and get them on. Scrimmages are okay, 7-on-7's okay, but it's season time and they got to get used to it.
One thing that was interesting, and I'm going to say a little detail about the game, is Estill County, East Carter had it about the 5-yard line. The Johnson kids, I think it was a designed actual pass. He goes in. Well, they called clip. It was close. Either way, it was unnecessary. He was going to score regardless.
Yeah.
Okay? So they call a flag. So Estill County accepts it. But while they do that, their whole entire team, and I'm talking almost everybody, except for maybe a coach or two and a trainer, went to the locker room. And you got to think, the band's getting ready to do the halftime show. And by the way, Estill County's band's great. And I like me some marching band. Estill County's got a top-notch band. So Tim Champson goes out to midfield with his hands up going, we still get to play. If they're going to accept it, either we get a touchdown or we get to play an untimed down.
Exactly.
Which is right.
Yes, exactly.
Well, the officials say, hey, go get everybody out of the locker room. We got one more play we got to run. So the Estill County, if you're familiar with Estill County's facilities, the locker, it's kind of like Boyd County. It's all the way at the other end of the field. They have to run the length of the field, put their helmets back on. So it took 10 minutes to do that. And of course, East Carter was unable to convert. It was just, and there was a couple of things. It almost seemed like one or two of the officials didn't have whistles. They let Estill County run all the way down the field one time on a touchdown, but it was a false start. It was. Why did you not blow the play dead?
Yeah.
Why would you even take a chance of somebody on the defense or offense getting hurt on a play that doesn't even count? That just, and it is what it is. So either way, East Carter just did not play well. That's just what it is. They were sloppy when it mattered. There was flashes of really, East Carter's going to be fine. I'm telling you, they're going to put it together. They're going to be a really, really good team here in a couple weeks, and we'll talk about their game coming up. Bath County and Fairview. Fairview hung around, man. That was one of those games that you looked at and you're like, do I pull the Eagle card? Do I think that Fairview's going to get it done? And I watched Fairview scrimmage against Fairland, which Fairland's usually pretty good. And Fairland is a team that I think they took Ironton to overtime, 2 years ago or maybe last year? And no, it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago when they took Ironton to overtime and was really, really close to winning, going all the way to state. So Fairview is, I'll tell you what hurts Fairview the most. They've got a couple kids that are pretty good. Their depth. Fairview has no depth at all, none. And I tell you, they don't have the hogs either. You got to have some hogs. You got to have some guys that will move some people and run the ball. And they just don't have the size that you need to be a real good football team. But they're going to win some games this year. Actually, and they got a good chance of that Friday night. Fleming County, Henry Clay. I picked Henry Clay based off their depth. And I knew Fleming County was pretty good. Fleming County goes to Lexington and wins. And Henry Clay, yes, they're not the best team in Lexington. They're probably not the second or the third or the fourth best team in Lexington. But they're a 6A team. They probably dressed 100 kids, and Fleming County went there and won. Yeah. So I think that's a really, really good win for Fleming County.
It's a good start.
Nicholas County, Lewis. Lewis had it in the bag, boys. Lewis had this game won. Yeah. It was over. Nicholas storms back and scores late and wins, takes it away from him. Lewis kind of put the car in cruise control, and we've seen that. And, Greenup didn't blow it last year, but Greenup had a big lead against Fleming last year. I believe they were up almost 4 touchdowns and let a team come right back in. You can never, especially when you go up early, big on these teams. You can't just put it in cruise control.
Yeah.
Because these teams around here are too good. They're not. They're going to make plays, and it's just one of the kind of an upset this week. Martin County went to Hazard, or excuse me, they had Hazard at the Rock, 20-7. Martin County's coaches told me, he said, we're going to whoop Hazard. I don't think that we're going to whoop them. And we watched them on film. I don't think they can beat us, and they were right. I took Hazard anyways because they brought their quarterback back, and their quarterback last year we got to see him down at Racing was a stud.
Yeah.
So sometimes and Martin County, I'll be honest with you, has been inconsistent at times. So, I thought that was a little bit of an upside. No, Martin County's 2A, no, Hazard's 1A, but Hazard is usually a really, really good 1A school. They beat Ashland last year. So, Floyd Central, this one was a big one. This shocked me. Floyd Central beat Paintsville 28-22. Let me tell you something. I love Paintsville's coach. I love their coaching staff. That ain't going to work down there.
No.
Nothing against Floyd Central. Losing to, if you're Paintsville, you put down brand new turf, and you go and lose to Floyd Central, I'll just be straight up honest with you. That ain't going to work. That ain't going to last long, I can tell you. They're going to right the ship. And I know that a lot of people in Paintsville know that, sometimes you have the dude, sometimes you don't. But I can tell you right now, that will not go over well, and it won't last long, and that's just the truth. And guess what? That's not highly debatable. That's just the truth. So, Pike Central and West Carter, I was really hoping when I got home, I was in Estill County, I didn't have any service, so I really didn't even have any service, so I got all the way back to Mount Sterling. It was hit or miss. I was getting, some was coming through, some wasn't. I was really hoping West Carter went down there and won. They played a really good game, of course. They had a kickoff returner really good. I'm telling you, West Carter is not the West Carter team you saw last year. They've got some dudes. They're going to win some games this year. Pike Central got a couple breaks. West Carter made a couple mistakes, and that was your difference. Just a young team. Daniel knows. I mean, they've got some things to work on, but they're fixable things, Coach. Sometimes you can't fix things. But these are fixable things, and West Carter continues to get better. Prestonsburg over Leslie, Rowland, and Lawrence played. Lawrence took care of them. Of course, there was a couple things there that happened. A fumble. Rowland County had it deep, and they just couldn't convert. Big one. Russell goes and whoops Mason County. You know what? There's not going to be a T-shirt season in Maysville this year, Coach. No T-shirt season in Maysville this year. Russell put a quick end to that, 28-8. And I'm not going to discredit Russell here. I think Russell played really, really good, and I think a big part of how what made Russell look really good is Pack running the ball. Yeah. When you run that split back handoff stuff, to take it to the next level, you have to have a read out of it. The quarterback should have to read whether he sticks in the gut of the running back or he keeps it and just runs with it. And I think that changed the offense. Not only that, they got a guy that came out by the name of Caleb Brimmer, who's a stud in basketball. Came out, caught a touchdown pass. Game changer. Russell is, I'll be honest with you, midway through the winter, I thought Russell's going to be in big trouble this year. But hey, you can't argue with the scoreboard. Russell whooped them, 28-8. Letcher Central over Shelby Valley. That kind of surprised me a little bit, man. I thought, Russ Osborne, who by the way is one of the better quarterbacks in Eastern Kentucky, really super underrated, great kid, super great kid, can absolutely sling it. Letcher Central's pretty good. Them and Racing will be in a war Friday night. Of course, you can catch all the action. It'll just be on the Kool Sports Network, not on TV. James Collier will be on the call. He is the voice of the Rams. That game, I think Shelby Valley's pretty good. So Letcher Central winning that game at Shelby Valley says a lot. The sleeper of the season right here that everybody buried a long time ago. Boyd County went over to Ohio and literally just wiped South Point off the face of the earth. They may not play another game, South Point, after how bad Boyd County beat them. Yeah. Which obviously we're kidding, but I'm telling you, Boyd County drug it up and down the field for 4 quarters. And they may do that Friday night too, Coach. I've been seeing the picks. I saw who you picked. Don't even go there.
They are. They've a very much improved football program. Love the coach out there. Love what he's doing. Love some of the kids. Some of the kids are just giving it all. And they got a good quarterback. They got several good running backs. Before the year's out, they're going to have 3 solid running backs if they don't get injured.
Well, the biggest thing that's underrated about Boyd County is their defense.
Yeah,
their defense is really good. Holbrook is a phenomenal athlete. They've got guys around that can make plays. They got wide receivers and quarterbacks. They're really good up front. but their defense.
I went out and watched them against the Russell Red Devils, and I thought they played a very sound defensive game. They tackle well. Open field tackle they do really well.
Which is, it's hard to find that.
And that's
in
hard
high
to
school
find
now.
that in high school
Yeah.
football. And, you know, they had their bad spots too. You know, you're going to. It's a scrimmage game, and it's early. But they were so much more advanced than Russell was that night. And
Coach, it was a scrimmage. Though.
I know. But, you know, you see a lot of things good in scrimmage
You
games.
do. It's an appetizer. That's what it is. You kind of it let your mind race.
I just, you know, and I got on the bandwagon last year with Boyd County.
They didn't
and-
have a bad year.
And they didn't have a bad year. And I think they're going to, in the next 2 years, if this coach stay in there and bringing his, now he's got his own
Well, Evans
guys
ain't
now.
going
He's
anywhere.
actually has his own guys
Yeah,
on his
Evan ain't
staff.
going nowhere.
You're going to see some changes from the Boyd County side on football.
Something else that's helping Boyd County is the multi-sport athletes now.
Yeah,
Formerly, you would never see a baseball player or a basketball
Ball
player
player.
on the football field.
that's for sure. And they're coming out now.
Well,
Well, that's what most schools have to have. You've got to have your athletes in your school out there playing all sports. I really believe that.
well, we just talked about Caleb Rimmer with
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
touchdown catch against Mason County.
I guarantee you Derek Cooksey's awful nervous every Friday night.
I don't know about that. If anything, it's just making him stronger and keeping him in shape, ready for basketball. But real quick, Belfry took care of business.
Yeah.
Pikeville took care of business.
Yes.
Predictable scores. And, you know, guys, this is the last weekend that we have where there's not a Kentucky or an SEC football game. So,
Yeah.
really, and Ohio State be lucky if they win a game this year.
Did you even mention the
Yeah.
Ashland racing?
Yeah, no, we're going
Yeah.
to talk
Okay,
about it.
we're getting to that?
Yeah,
Okay.
Let's get on me
yeah.
off the
All
bat.
right.
And then there was a game over at Putnam Stadium where they had the lights go out. Yeah. My God, they can't even pay the electric bill over there.
I don't know.
They're going to buy a brand new facility.
It was a
Can't even get the
busy
lights
side.
to run,
It was a busy side far.
Get
far
Mark Rothenstein on it.
and I was like,
They
yeah.
can't even get the lights to
The
stay
lights
on
over
nowhere.
the concession stand were a lot better. They lit up a lot better than
Listen.
the lights in the stadium.
Listen, that place really lived up to the name as historic when the lights went out. I think the lights are
I
as
mean,
old as
you
the
act
stadium.
like that.
They're getting that new
That's
field
the
next year.
lights
Maybe
have
they'll
already
get
been
some
out,
new
so-
lights. I mean, you know, if I'm going to get a great field like that and new turf field, I think I'm going to have to
I mean,
enhance on the lights.
I mean, just imagine how they had to play that game. They had to turn around when they got to midfield because the other side of the field wasn't lit up.
Well, I was watching it, and it didn't seem that bad.
Well,
to
it
me.
wasn't a disadvantage
But
for anybody. Both teams
I
had
look
to play
at it
the
this
same
way,
way.
Coach, but both teams
It's
got to
just-
play on it. You
well,
know,
we're
both
just-
teams
we're
got to
just
play.
poking
Face
at it. I
No,
mean,
I'm
it
just
is
saying,
funny.
it did not look bad. It didn't
It
even look
did.
bad.
I didn't think it looked
The
bad
switch
either.
ends.
I know, but I know,
You
but
just couldn't see the deep ball being thrown on that.
I know,
corner.
but I think that was a right decision by Ashland. I think that playing on one side of the field was the right side. Obviously, you can't help when the lights go out. That could have happened anywhere.
Yeah.
You just never know. It could be a short. It could be a breaker win. But you know, nobody was at a disadvantage because they both had to play the same way.
I
So-
thought Ashland up front on their defensive side, tremendous.
pressure they got on
The pressure
Lundy,
that they got on Lundy and keeping him in house, and Racel didn't have an answer. So a couple of them 4th and 1s, 4th and 2s. Like I said, when you're in shotgun back here and you're going to run him straight up the middle, as a defensive coach, I'm loving that. And because I got the confidence in it, and that's all you have to do, get the confidence in that front defensive line because they win championships. I keep telling everybody, if you're going to win a championship, it's how your defensive line plays.
I think
Plus, you got to learn how to line up behind center with an I formation, and get a 4th and inches or a 4th and 1 the old school way.
If you just hold them still, you just hold your man up and you beat your man, it's great. But if you just hold him up, you won.
Well, I don't know. I
You
think
won on a
Racel
4th
played
and
really,
1,
really
4th and
well. I'll be honest with you. Without the Jennings kickoff return, Ashland probably loses that game. So if you're going to talk about the offensive defensive line, I could tell you 3 times where Racel went up and down the field on them.
Oh, Racing.
So,
yeah.
you know.
And gave
there's
up the big play that you
And
didn't
I
want to
know
give
a
up.
couple of
that you-
times there
everybody-
was a jet sweep that got called back that went deep in Ashland territory. There was a couple of things. Racel wasn't able to convert on a goal line down there. Listen, Ashland was fortunate to win that game.
Yeah, but everybody that's in that stadium knows there's going to be a time in this game, and anybody that's watched it, any coach out there, they're going to know that LeBron to Houston, and I told you last year, Houston's going to be one of the best receivers to ever come out of this area, and I really think that. But, you know, it's going to happen somewhere in this game, and it did. And like you said, and we was talking earlier, you can't. You've got to have a man over top. You want to lock him up outside with that guy? He's gone.
It's
He
hard
was
to
gone
say
off the. He
when
got
you're-
off the ball. Boom! It's a
Right.
touchdown.
And
I've
it's
seen it
hard
happen.
to tell. You know, you don't know if it was a defensive coordinator play. You don't know if the kid just went to sleep.
Went to sleep.
When you're dealing with kids, you know. just
But
never
if I'm
know.
playing
But
the Tomcats and knowing
Yeah.
this formation, I have to get somebody over top.
Yeah, and I think
they did.
Raceland did.
Raceland
But
did do it.
besides that one play, though, Coach, Raceland did a really good
They
job
did.
of containing
Yes,
Houston.
I agree with that.
Houston is, probably the best receiver in the area.
And they tackle well, too,
So-
in open field.
I
They
think
came up and
Raceland's
hit.
a really good football team. I think Ashland's a really good football team.
It was a good football game.
I think if those
was a
teams,
good Friday night football game.
it was a toss-up game. That was one of the toughest games I've ever had to predict, and I thought,
I thought the kids left everything out in the field.
and I
for
don't
first
think that
game.
Raceland got pushed around up front as much as you think they do, as much as you allude to. I think that Lundy had some time to throw a lot of the times.
He was on the move a lot, though.
He was on the move a lot.
He throws the ball.
he wasn't-
Sometimes,
But
it was,
I agree with you. There was a couple times like the great pass he threw down coming towards the Tomcat end zone where all the.
I mean, they had a
fans were
couple
all-
guys wide open.
That was a great play. I mean, that was a. Heck
talking
of a
about over in
throw.
the corner.
Over in the corner. That was
Yeah.
a great throw.
Yeah.
Great throw.
Yeah,
by
I
Lundy.
mean, and you talk about
you
the
give
quarterback
him
play.
you give him you give him anywhere between 4 and 6 seconds. That guy's going to score.
And you talk about the quarterback
Same
play.
thing with LeBron.
LeBron Strader's a stud. He is a stud.
You got to stop him running. It's like a Jared. I always said it's like a Jared Lorenzo.
Well, he ain't no Jerry Lorenzo no more. He's
35
that.
pounds.
He
He
might
might
be
be
better.
better.
That baby fat's gone.
Yeah.
And it was just a good old-fashioned pitcher's duel that was decided by a factor that was on special teams. Jennings made a great play. Raceland didn't execute on the kickoff. He made him pay. That was the deciding factor. But as far as a football game, guys, you couldn't ask for a better game than that.
I told you last year I thought he overachieved for when he did really for a young quarterback. But this year he's taking them on the shoulders, and I'm telling you what, he likes running the ball. You watch him.
He
His
embraces the
attitude and
contact.
he embraces
Yeah, he doesn't shy
contact.
away from it.
He likes to be in that he wants to be that player that's in the big play and make the big play. And that's awesome. That's what you need to win a ball game.
We'll take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll break down next week's games here on Highly Debatable.
Having trouble keeping your parking lot lit? Is customer safety one of your top priorities? If so, call River Cities Builders at 473-4112 for all your lighting needs. We have bucket truck and boom crane truck services. We have extensive experience in exterior lighting and parking lot lighting maintenance. No need to ever be in the dark again. Remember, call River Cities Builders at 473-4112 for all your lighting needs. We will light your path to success.
When you have business away from home or a planned event far from your comfort zone, you're probably going to need a little help. Let A&A Porta Potties assist you with all your portable toilet needs. Whether on a construction site, planning for an outdoor wedding, or any other outdoor event, A&A Porta Potties are here to assist you. A&A Porta Potties also rents out storage containers, office containers, cooling fans, tables, and chairs. A&A Porta Potties, there is no event too big or too small for us to accommodate you.
For those on the go, the smoothie connoisseur, the break room favorite, and for those that just never quite have it all, Clark's has what you need to keep your day on track. Make life easier and keep your busy schedule moving forward with everything you need at Clark's. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
If you're looking for a complete discount pharmacy with old-fashioned service and excellent prices, look no more. Since 1979, Stultz Pharmacy has provided our area with the finest in pharmacy care, 24-hour emergency prescription service, free delivery, and drive-through service for prescriptions. Stultz Pharmacy continues to fill all of your expectations. They carry a nice selection of gift items. For hometown service, see the professionals at Stultz Pharmacy in Greenup. More than you expect from a pharmacy.
Stultz Pharmacy.
You having trouble keeping...
All right, we're back to Highly Debatable. Of course, I was telling Sean how quiet he was being over here. And of course, he had his mic upside down, so
No,
now
I
we
did
can.
not have it.
So we're going to get going here. Next
Oh,
week's
you
games.
did forget to mention that I picked the score exactly correct.
Sean got one of the picks of the 10 that he said he got. So
I picked the Ashland score 100% correct.
listen, Sean would pick Ashland if they were playing Tennessee.
No, I wouldn't. I drew, I'm
So
not that big of an
Might be a
Ashland
good
homer.
question. A weak SEC ball. I can see Ashland.
anyways, Shelby Valley. Listen, guys, I talked about how good they were. Russ Osborne, they're going to make a trip to Louisiana. They're going to take on Lawrence County. I'm not going to make this pick. I'll say this. If Lawrence County cannot contain the receivers that are very athletic and fast for Shelby Valley, it will be a very long night for Bulldogs. For Lawrence County, you're riding high. You had a big win over Rowan County, and you lost a lot of production from the year before. You're in a new offensive scheme, something that Coach Short's familiar with because he ran it when he was at Lawrence County, and they were really good. And I asked him at media, I said, how in the world do you score 50 points in the state semi game and lose by 30? He said, we gave up 76. So it's just one of those things, you know. But listen, they got it rolling down there in Lawrence County, and you know what? We said it, James said it, and on our football preview, you know what's the most valuable thing in football season when it comes to young kids? Confidence. Confidence. When these kids and these teams play with confidence, they go automatically a tier up. So that's going to be a really good game. I'm not going to pick that game because people are listening. George Rogers Clark's going to play Belfry in the Pike County Bowl. Man, I got to watch Belfry against Race on a scrimmage, and it's not that I didn't think Belfry was real good, but they don't have an Isaac Dixon. There's no David Jones there. They don't have the big, strong offensive line like you would see with Austin Dotson and that crew that was there. This is not a team that will really put it to Johnson Central, but they go to Breathitt County and they roll them. So, you know Breathitt County coach, they're never bad. No. I've never known Breathitt County to be bad. So that was an impressive win for Belfry. George Rogers Clark, I think they're going to try to spread the field on them. I think they're going to get their athletes in space. I'll go ahead and pick this game where it's at Belfry. I think Belfry close, man. Close, Belfry.
At Belfry, that's a Belfry win.
Well, yeah, at Belfry, and then it's Haywood's 40th, year coaching, if I'm not mistaken.
Close.
It
Close.
is his 40th year.
Belfry.
I think it is, and he's going to control the ball. He's not going to change nothing. In 40
Now,
years.
Woolham's a good running back,
Yeah.
but he's not the dude yet. It takes a lot to be a dude down there.
I'm
Woolham
looking around
is
21 to 7.
I think
Pirates.
GRC scores more than that. Maybe I'm wrong. You know more than I do.
No, not really.
Bell County's going to go up to play Boyd County in a team that you guys have just written off for the rest of the year. Of course, Coach, I saw your pick, so I don't know what you're looking over there for because I was pointing at you. I saw what you picked.
On who now?
Boyd and Bell.
Yeah, and I love Boyd County and their system, the way they're doing. But I'm going to tell you what, Bell County's no slouch.
No,
You're playing up, and
they got a coach that's going to be on the Mount Rushmore of coaching
Yeah.
when he retires.
yeah,
I mean,
and they're going to. It's a big task, and we'll see if they're. I don't think they're good, but they're not ready for this.
Yeah.
This is stepping out of your class a little bit, I think, and not putting it to any bad respect to Boyd County, but if they do pull off the victory, then watch out for the Lions.
You know what I'm going to do to you.
I know it.
Not so fast.
Not so fast.
I'll make this pick. I think Boyd County wins.
Okay.
And not only, I think Boyd County wins, and I think they have a good celebration on the field after the game.
Good.
You got to think, Coach, one thing that you didn't mention the whole time that you were breaking that game down is Bell County's going to go get on a bus for 3 hours.
Yeah.
3 hours on a bus.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that don't take it's not a factor.
Done many trips like that, and get off, and you have to get motivated, and you got to play. like you
Boyd
said.
County, at home. Give me the Lions. What do you think?
I'm going to go against Grant. I'm going to say Bell County.
Sean's over here asleep.
No, I'm
Yeah.
just doing some research.
Okay.
Sean's doing research.
Russell's going to play their game Saturday. They're going to go down to the farm. Greenup, they went over to Coal Grove. They made they looked really good in the second half. They made a couple mistakes, a couple high throws. Tyson Sammons is one of the best players in the area, regardless of positions. Russell looked really good against Mason. I watched their film.
Will they have their
Nothing against them.
Will the
Nothing
tailback
against
be
Mason.
back this week?
Huh?
Is the tailback scheduled to come back this week?
You talking about for Greenup?
No, for Russell.
For Russell. Who was? I didn't know anybody was out. I thought Cruz played. Cruz played. You're talking about Andre Richardson Cruz. Yeah, he
I didn't
played.
think he played the whole game though.
Well,
He was not not healthy. Will he be
yeah, he's a he'll play.
more carries and more.
Yeah, I mean Andre's just a tough kid, man.
Yeah.
I mean he's gonna play. You ain't gonna keep that kid off the field. I mean it don't matter if he has to go out there with a crutches. He's gonna play. So nothing against Russell here. I watched that field. Mason County is terrible. I'll just put it what it is.
Yeah.
You want to know what it is? Mason County looked terrible. I mean, awful. And I know that they had a bunch of guys playing for the first time. Their quarterback's a stud, Mason County's.
Yeah.
Really good. But they look terrible. That's just what it is.
About go 9 for 26 this week. He still may run for 220 yards, but he won't be 9 for 26 though on the ball. I'm going to take Greenup County also.
Just a minute.
All
I haven't read
Pressure.
before I could get behind him and stuff. And I like Coach Jones. I like what he's doing. I like his enthusiasm. I
He's
like
going
what he's
Russell
brought
now.
to Greenup County.
Yeah.
And a lot of things he's doing. But I'm going to put it this way. In that game, that first game that Greenup played, when they got over there, you just can't use one player. You can't use Tyson Salmons and say, hey, that's our, that you're going to have to come up with some other ideas, and some other kids are going to have to step it up.
Well, Greenup County's got a stud running back in Ike
I'm
Henderson.
not saying they don't, but what I'm saying, it's going to be too much Russell. I think Russell's going to come. I don't think it was too much of a fluke, but they came out of their shell on that opening game, and I was kind of impressed because I did not select them in that first game.
Oh, I think this
And
game,
they
I think
shocked
Russell
me.
could win easily.
And
And
I
I
think
think
Russell-
Greenup could win.
I think Russell will control it defensively. I don't think he'll get 200 yards.
I'll say this: if
I think he
Russell,
might get over 120, maybe 115, somewhere in there. I don't think he get any
if
of that.
Russell goes to Greenup and wins, I'm sold.
Yeah.
I'm sold. But at the film that I watched, Mason County's terrible.
Yeah.
And no offense, they had a great year last year. That ain't the same Mason County team. It is what it is. But what is that on your glasses? It looks like they're turning maroon and gold. You better take those shades off.
They take it. I am.
Yeah. So Greenup Russell. Okay. So Morgan's going to go to Jenkins. Jenkins didn't have a football team for a couple of years there. They didn't have the numbers. Morgan County guys, they had tons of opportunities to win the game when they played East Ridge and just couldn't get it done. I think they win this week. Give me Morgan County.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. Too much Morgan County this week.
A game that James is going to go to. James even got a hotel down there. He's going to drive all the way down there to Letcher County Central. And guys, I've watched Letcher County Central on film a little bit. I watched their scrimmage against Greenup, and I watched their game against Shelby Valley. They're a good team. This is a tough match. It's kind of like, we knew going into the year Raceland had the gauntlet. Well, we saw it. The toughest schedule in this area by far. And, there's no days off when you've got that schedule. And there's no cupcake coming up Friday. With how it is, I thought Raceland played really well against Ashland. Did they win? No, but that doesn't mean you didn't play well.
Yeah.
So I think Raceland goes, and I think they win. I'm gonna take Raceland over Letcher County Central.
We were texted earlier this week that it's not conceivable that the only 3 games that Raceland wins on their schedule are the 3 district games. Now, I don't think that'll happen. I think they go down there and win this week. Yeah. But it's not out of the realm of possibility if they go 3-7.
Well, they'll whip Hazard. They'll whip Hazard. Yeah. That game will be a running clock. They'll beat Hazard to death.
I think they'll wind up, I think they'll wind up Falcons. I think they'll wind up probably 7-3 or 6-4.
They'll beat Newport Central Catholic, kind of like what James said. I don't think that game will be really that close either.
I'd like to see Coach Salmons practice this week at Raceland because I think they're going to come out a little bit fired up.
Well, like I said, I don't think they
lose
played
that
bad.
opening. Yeah, and I didn't think they played bad either.
Yeah.
But it's the thought.
It is. It's
we
the
got
loss.
beat by
It is.
Tomcats. We got beat in our home area.
It is.
And that's tough. But I think they're going to take some things out. And like I said, they played well. I thought they tackled well.
Yeah,
Open field tackled. They ran plays. Lundy, by far, you turn your head and you give him 4 seconds, it's going to be a long night.
And you got to think that Raceland had one of their best defensive linemen out.
Yeah.
And Elijah Jackson. So EJ, he's going to be out this week also. Look for him to come back against Pikeville, and maybe even a week after that. But things like that. I know Ashland had a couple guys that were banged up too.
Yeah.
I'm not making excuses either way. I thought that game was great. I think both teams are really good, and I don't think either of them played bad. Was there things they can clean up? Absolutely. You could say that about any game.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Raceland. Raceland all around. 3 straight Racelands.
Raceland.
They're doomed. So McGoffin's going to go to Lewis. Lewis had it. They had the game last week. They blew it against Nicholas County. And I don't care what anybody says. That's the truth. That's what they did. But they're not going to do it this week. Give me the Lions, Lewis County.
I go with the Lewis County also.
I'm going Lewis County.
Lewis County's got some dudes that you don't know about yet. Fleming's go to Nicholas County. Nicholas County's, they're not a bad team. They're not a bad team.
But they're not
Fleming County probably has their best team they've had in a few years.
few years.
Fleming County, easy.
Yeah, that's what I agree with you.
Exactly, yeah, me too.
East has Rowan at home. This game got pushed back to 8:30. I'll be on the call for that game. I'm gonna predict this game. I probably shouldn't, but Brown County's not a cool TV team. I think East Carter's a lot better than what they showed against Estill County, and it's not anything to do with anything but just an experienced coach. You know how it is when you get kids in there. There's just a little inexperience, and they'll watch themselves on film, and just little things they'll fix, and it changes the football team overnight. I think East Carter wins this game, and I think they win it probably by a couple scores.
Was this at East?
This is in Grayson.
It is in Grayson.
Yeah, I'll go with East also.
Well, it's not a far trip for Round County, and I just think Round County's going to handle them up front. This is the year that Round County is going to get the opportunity.
They got handled up front Friday,
I know.
Coach.
But they're going. I think.
No, I
they're gonna
mean
come back.
Lawrence County handled Brown.
Yeah, I know that. But East Carter's a little different this year. Like you said, you've got a lot of kids that's come out there, new positions. They lost quite a bit. And I love Coach O'Pear. I think he does a tremendous job. He's changed that whole program, and he's put it on the map. But I'm gonna go with Rowan County.
I think East Carter puts it all over them. Nothing against Rowan County. I think they watching their film against Lawrence, they had chances. I think East Carter comes out. I think Johnson plays great. Isaac Messer's a force on the defensive line. They've got really, really good young talent when you talk about Briar Holbrook and Landon Yoke and Gabe Roberts, a guy that nobody ever talks about. Gabe Roberts almost led the whole entire area in receiving. He almost had 100 yards. I believe he had – how many did he have, Sean? 92 and a touchdown. And returned to kickoff against Estill County. So a guy that you don't hear a lot about, Gabe Roberts. I'm telling you, I think no offense to Brown County, I'm sure if something happens and East loses, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. We knew we were going to win the whole time. Everybody's always right when I'm wrong. No. So give me East Carter. Let's see who else we got. West plays Estill. Does Estill County go for the Carter County sweep?
Not get it.
This game it's in Olive Hill. Estill County's got a stud running back. His last name's Arvin. They also go into, I don't know if they call it the Wild Engineer. I call it the Wildcat, where they got a kid that's last name is Nice that gets it. Big, strong, big kid. And he's not particularly real fast, but he'll just run over top of you.
Yeah. There's a name for Estill County. Remember Jeremy Nice, the quarterback they had?
Yeah.
With Kentucky?
Well, I don't know if they're in kin by any way, but this kid's a stud also. Looking back on that East Carter game, Estill County killed them with sit-down routes, especially on a 4th and 13. If East Carter stops them there, they probably win the game. This is on the last drive, I think. And sit-down routes killed them. Estill County's quarterback's very young. They're going to go on the road. This game's in Olive Hill. I think confidence. I think Estill County wins, man. I'm going to go Estill.
I'm going with Estill County being crowned Carter County champions of Carter County.
Whatever. Johnson Central Pikeville.
We didn't have that one back.
Look, his glasses turned gold there for a minute. You see that? Johnson Central Pikeville. That wasn't on the pick'em. That's just
Johnson Central Pikeville.
Come on, let's hear it. Say it.
Well, it's hard for me to
say
Johnson
Central.
I coached there for 12 years. I mean, I'm definitely an Eagle, and but I think it's up front again, and I think Johnson Central has that up front over top them. But they've got some good running backs. Well, they do. I mean, it's going to be a battle. I'll be there. That's the game I'm going to go to. I'm looking forward to that, and I just think Johnson Central's it's going to be a close one, and I think they'll control it when it comes down to the crunch in the fourth quarter. I think whoever gets up, and like Coach said here a while ago, I think whoever scores over 21 points wins the ball game.
Well, if that's the case, then you should pick Pikeville, because I think Pikeville. I don't know, man. That's the toughest game to call all week. You know what? I'm gonna take Johnson Central also.
I am too.
So, I think that that communities down there, the Paintsville and Pikeville communities have wanted this game for a really long time. They used to play in the preseason. It was a scrimmage game. It's always really competitive. Yeah. Pikeville guys has just been a machine lately. They just kill everybody they play.
They lose 15 seniors and they just reload.
Oh, like I said, they're a machine. And Johnson Central is a traditional power. They're good every single year, and you know how they do it. Everybody knows.
I like what Coach Peck's doing down there. I really do. I like what Coach Jesse's doing down there.
But I'll say this, Coach: if Pikeville's able to get their athletes in space, it's going to be a long night for Johnson Central.
It could be.
And this game's in Pikeville also. Ashland, West Jesmond. Is that game on Saturday now?
I'm not sure yet. I haven't seen anything.
I believe it's on Saturday. This game has been moved to Saturday. What's
26th.
You know, that's
Saturday.
it's in the Lexington area. It's not far out of Lexington, West Jesmond.
Nicholasville. It's on the south.
Who was it? Who was
Southwest
their an old Kentucky player? Their coach. What's his name? Wasn't it in that? Who is it? Who is their coach?
Yeah.
Yeah, but who did they have?
Well, you're
they had a
thinking of-
player.
You're thinking of-
it's Vic Marsh's son.
Right, I know
Yeah,
that, but
you're
they had a
thinking-
player.
You're thinking of Jones, quarterback from. That was.
No, I'm not thinking that.
That was East Jessamine.
Go to roster. No, I'm not. This is right.
A former Kentucky.
Yeah.
It ain't Joker Phillips. I know
No,
that
it's
for
not.
sure.
Sean's gonna look at that. Either way, I think Ashland. I'm pretty sure they got a player that either because last year Russell scrimmaged him, and I went there because where Landon played for Russell last year, and Russell handled them. I mean, they really did. But they had a quarterback who was a son of a Kentucky alumni, who was a really, really good player. I can't remember what his name was.
That's East Jessamine. That's Jones.
No,
Pookie
that's
Jones'
not it.
son.
I don't know.
That's
about-
exactly who it is.
I think you're right. It is.
I'll get.
But it's
Yeah, there's no.
But it's going to
Yeah,
be
it's-
it's going to be way too much Tomcats down there. I'm sorry.
This game's at Putnam.
They're going to step up their game.
I think Ashland wins, and I
Yeah.
think they cruise.
I mean, they're going to have to kick off to
Cruise.
the top. I mean, I know on the scouting reports you can't kick. You're not going to be able to kick off.
I don't
You're
think
not
they'll
gonna be able
need
to
it. I
run
think
back.
Ashland. Listen, as
But the
far as
running-
athleticism on the offensive side, nobody around here is as good as Ashland.
Well,
and
you
that's
got to
why
get the Thomas kid back.
well, he's
up.
just not healthy.
He's not healthy yet. You get him back rolling with three running backs they
Yeah.
got and that quarterback. It's
three-headed
dangerous.
monster.
It's a dangerous.
Yeah.
It's like the 1990 was it Tomcat team?
Oh, they're nowhere near that.
They're not far from.
I'll tell
it
you
when
this:
it comes
the
down to it.
2020 team would kill this Ashland team.
They might up front and stuff.
No,
but I'm telling
everywhere.
You what, the backfield's just getting as good.
There's nobody on that team as fast as Keontae Pittman, and you know that.
I'm saying the 90 team.
No, I'm just saying I know, but I don't
Well,
think
you're
that.
talking about 2020 team.
Yeah, I think 2020 would beat this team bad,
Oh,
especially defensively, bad.
I'm talking about the Hunt era.
Yeah, I know what
Keaton
you're talking
Johnson.
about. Yeah, I know what
and-
you're talking about, but I don't think this
Big
team's.
boy.
I think 2020 is a super underrated team. That's the best defense I've ever seen out of a high school football team around here. I think they would crush them.
Probably would. That was a smart, very intelligent program.
Oh,
You know, it was unfortunate you get, and I was just lucky. I got to coach there with
Jack
Tony,
Alley,
and they're very intelligent.
They had the Tackett kid.
You only had to tell the kids one time.
Christian,
They knew the
I mean, they
strategies. You come over under the
loaded.
tent.
JT
look at the-
Garrett.
and you look at the TV.
Yeah,
and
no
they-
offense to
you
this
only had
year's
to tell them
Ashland
one
team. I
time.
think they're really good, but that
And they were-
2020
they were
group
right on it.
was different.
They read well.
Yeah, and they had Jordan Jones, just different. They were different.
And nobody lined up wrong. I mean, we might have had two bad lineups.
Yeah.
You know, lined
Either
up
way, this
position out of position a couple times all year.
Yeah.
They just was a good team.
Either way, I've got Ashland, all the way.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're out of time. It's 7:43. We're going to cut today's show a little short because I'll be honest with you, I still have not made up my mind about most of these teams. You know, except for Mason County. I think they're really bad. But most of the teams I really have not made up my mind about because I think there's room for improvement. I know that I'm obviously giving Mason County a hard time. I'm just doing it as bait because I think that guy will get on Twitter, and I think that's funny.
What do you think about the Frederick Douglass Trinity?
I think Frederick Douglass
I'm going to
got
go
a
Trinity.
good gauge of how they are when Hoban put it to them last week.
I think Trinity.
But you know, and
But I understand
That's
Hoban
not-
is
that-
different
but you-
football than here.
when I coached over at Willersburg, that was the only time in my whole 32-year career that I had to go out and scout. We didn't have the luxuries
I
back then.
think Trinity.
And I had to go up there, up north to through Ohio. And there's some schools up there, man, guys. Till you walk on these schools'
Yeah,
compounds.
I
and
understand
stuff,
that. I
it's
understand
amazing.
that. But there's I know, but Trinity's had some teams some years that would beat any team in Ohio. And
It's
you know how I
gonna be
know
a, this
that
is gonna
because
be a dogfight. Coach down there is
what was
going to be in a
it?
dogfight.
2 years ago, Trinity beat St. X and Cincinnati was the best team in Ohio.
Yeah.
In the highest class.
Sure.
So it is what it is. But that's all the time we have today for the first episode of Highly Debatable. I'm Spencer Hutchison, Sean Hutchison, Mark Salyers, and we want to thank James Collier for sticking it in here. He is absolutely miserable, but he has been a champ the whole time down there. We'll be listen. Oh yeah. One more thing. I have to work Monday and Tuesday, so I'll be doing soccer and volleyball, I believe. So it'll either be a Wednesday or a Thursday show next week. So most likely, probably a Thursday show. So I'll make a post on Facebook. But until next time, we appreciate you guys watching.